Yeah, they're up in Vienna, Virginia.
That's nice. Go into it. I like keeping it in.
All right, welcome back to those in the public that joined us back from the oyster aquaculture discussion. We're here now to talk about, basically we're heading into the city's budget process. The school board has completed their budget process, and we're interested in hearing from the school board this evening about what it is that the city needs to do, and basically to have that open conversation that we've had the past 15 years, I think, about what it is that the city can do to further education. From what I can tell, you are getting healthier financially each year as we've come out of 2008. We've watched the number for the city come down a little bit. I think that's a good sign, but I don't want to just read into that and hear that, later on that, well, we cut it to 177 because we didn't think you could do something else. I know that Randy and Jennifer worked very closely together during the budget process. I think that's good for all of us. And it certainly is a cordial relationship here between the school board and the council, so hope that we can just have an open and frank discussion. All right, so Jennifer, would you like to kick it off, or would the school board chairman like to kick it off?
I'll be glad to.
All right, hold on, let me give you this.
Hold on.
I don't like that going all over.
All right. Do I need to hold this? Does that sound okay? Good. Well, thank you for allowing us to be here again with you in a joint meeting. And we are extremely pleased this year that the state moved in a better direction for the schools, which I think allowed us to take a little bit of the pressure off of you guys. And the staff and everybody has put together a really great budget. And what we're very proud of is that we've been able to address the compensation issue. And we put together a plan that is going to allow our compensation to be more competitive with our neighbors, and we don't know what our neighbors are going to do. They might pass us by after the great work that we've done, but we know that Poquoson Schools is a great place to work, and that's an attraction, but we also wanted to provide the compensation that we feel that our teachers deserve because they're doing an incredible job, and of course all associated personnel. So I would just like to say I'm so pleased that you guys work so well with us, and they're so receptive when we come to you with our needs. And as I read the papers and look at some of our neighbors, it makes me appreciate you guys even more. So we're really here just to thank you, and we think we've made great progress, Mayor, like you addressed, that it seems like it's getting better, but the state moving in a direction which is not yet fully funding our schools, but they did move in a more positive direction this year, and we are pleased.
Sure. Let's just. The members of council, I mean, if we got questions in particular, I guess just to sum up what I can remember of the budget. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Randy. But
You can now, Mayor.
just to summarize what I believe is being asked of the city, like I said, correct me if I'm wrong here, Randy, is that basically standard funding, and you're looking for an increase in about 177,000. Is that
175,000, correct, yeah.
good? We saved
Yeah,
$2,000
saved
just sitting right here.
I'm just offering them 2,000 more.
Well, they didn't take me up on it, so. So with that said, I know that fit within what we're looking at this year easily. So what does that not do? Let me ask that question. What are still the weaknesses that, because I don't want to leave here thinking, oh, well, it was an easy budget, therefore all our education issues are behind us. I don't think they are. I think you just mentioned, Mr. Chairman, that bottom line is state is still not fully funding education like they should. So I don't want to say, well, we can handle it, so it's all gotten good. So I want to continue the drumbeat I think that all of us have been doing with our legislators and the governor's office and saying, what else is it that needs to be done? So I don't want to short sell it either.
Well, I can speak to that. What we have done with this budget, as Chairman Cass said, is we've really put everything we can put into compensation for our employees and especially for our teachers. What we haven't done is added back any of the 54.5 positions that we cut over a 7-year period as a result of the state budget cuts. And remember that we cut 11 teaching positions beyond enrollment loss. So even though we've been losing enrollment, we should still have more teachers teaching in our system. But we've had a lot of discussion about budget, and compensation has really been a struggle, as it has been for the city for the last 7 years. So we really felt like we needed to invest everything we could in our current people. I do hope that eventually the state fully reinvests in education, K-12, because they didn't this year. They did provide us additional funding, because I believe we need to start to put some of those positions back in and also continue to increase the compensation. What we have in front of us this year, and with your assistance, is a 3-year transition plan to a new teacher step pay plan. So we're still not just moving to the competitive teacher step plan in 1 year, because there's just no way we can afford to do that. So hopefully maybe next year from the state will be better than what we anticipate, and we can move that transition up quicker. But I would say it's really positions and then moving forward even more quickly with compensation. But that's going to take the state to step up and say, okay, we're going to fully reinvest now.
So the local board, and I think your priorities are exactly right, so don't take this as a criticism in any way. So basically what I've heard you say is that the pay of the existing teachers is more critical than the need of the extra teachers right now. And that's the next step. And I think that's the right answer. I don't think anybody on council is going to disagree with that, because you're exactly right. We're going to be addressing the same thing in the city budget. Okay, so, but I think it's good that the citizens here, hey, we're still not there, okay, but we've done a good job managing it and managing what you can do, so.
At the same time, eventually, I mean, we're happy that we, less pressure on you guys this year than we have in the past, but eventually we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do with the middle school, and so we're hoping to give y'all a little bit of time to breathe, and then, I mean, we're going to be really having to sit down at the table and figure out what we are going to do in the future. And, I mean, some of our growth, hopefully locally, will help and assist with that, but, we still have some big decisions coming down the road that I know y'all are fully aware of because of all of our meetings.
Absolutely, and I think to address that so that we're communicating effectively with the citizens is, we're not just sitting on our laurels here waiting for that. I mean, but there's a certain amount of debt service that needs to fall off. But one of the big things, and I don't know if anybody caught the last city council meeting, which I appreciate you chairing for me there, Mr. Vice Mayor, but the bond council, we've been very active with bond council, trying to yet again raise, we've got a AAA rating with S&P, but not Moody's. I think we've got a AAA, but it's a small A with Moody's. And we're trying to go back to them and increase that one, because basically I think we've had a very successful run with our bond ratings. That will, I think, in the next year or so come to another savings in interest that we've been paying on the existing debt, but we're not trying to extend that debt. Okay, so same term, but particularly lower interest payments. So again, we're not trying to make too much room yet, but the real thought process is that we have the school coming. We need to be at that credit rating when we go to finance that sum of money. And that is where the council's heading right now. So, fair?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We'll be in New York next month, making that pitch for across-the-board AAA. I'm cautiously optimistic.
So-
I'm moderately optimistic.
All right, so with that said, I don't want to waste anybody's time here, but why don't we go around and does anybody else want to say something, or you got particular questions? Councilman Vernal?
Yeah.
Hold on, let's get you a microphone so everybody can hear you.
I know we've got a lot of pending development that hopefully will increase the enrollment, but what is the short-term picture for enrollment Are we still looking at some decline this coming year and perhaps the year after that, or is it leveling out? Just give me some idea where we stand with that.
We're still looking at a decline moving into next year and also the following year. I'm hoping, I know that there's some building going on as we speak, and I know that one housing area development has opened up, and I think contracts are being put in place. So I'm hoping that our projections are wrong and that we see less of a decrease moving into next year and certainly then the following year. But obviously for the last almost 8 years now, I've talked a lot about the loss of enrollment, and that has hurt us throughout this, beyond the state cuts as well, but has hurt us. So, but we are looking at a decline again.
Other questions of council or the school board? You got questions for us?
Comment,
Go ahead.
I'd like to thank the council. We've seen several new shiny buses arriving in the last couple of years, and they don't come for free. And I know with a wife who's a runner and a daughter who was a runner, I see that you're trying to work on the resurfacing the track at the high school, and that'd be good for all residents of Poquoson, not just those in high school, but a lot of folks used to like to walk on that track. And it's going to be nice to see that things like that are continuing to be done, even though you're funding what we need for the teachers, but you are doing extra things, and we certainly appreciate that.
Well, thank you for that comment. Anybody else?
Comment.
Yes, sir. Hold on, let me, because everybody at home deserves to hear you, bud.
Sorry, thank you.
Careful with that.
Yes, I had some conversation with Jennifer, Dr. Flowers, excuse me, and if I'm correct, although we are improving state funding for the schools, I still think there are funding at or below 2007 or 8 levels. Is that not correct? And so I encourage all the citizens to continue to contact their representatives. We lost a good friend in Senator Miller. His passing, he was much in favor of improving the spending for K through 12. I think Senator Tommy Norman, and I know Delegate Helsel is hard in favor, but they need to hear from their citizens, and so I strongly recommend that you call or write your state representatives to increase that funding.
I have a comment, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I think the decision that y'all made to provide the school system with funding above and beyond the minimum requirements makes a pretty strong statement to current residents, as well as residents who may be considering moving to Poquoson, about just how high we prioritize the school system. After all, it is a cornerstone of the community and always will be. Thank you for your generosity.
This sounds like a kumbaya moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is much easier than years past.
Amen.
All right, well, I'm not going to waste everybody's time, so thank y'all for coming. And now we get to meet with our department heads, right? So, is there time to go? Okay.